Hi everybody, nice to see you again. In the previous videos, we looked at different views of planning a lesson and the main components of a lesson plan. In this video, we will talk about the principles of planning a lesson and sequencing activities in the lesson. When you plan a lesson, you should pay attention to the following key points: the aims and objectives of the lesson, the variety and flexibilities of a lesson plan, the learnability and linkage of the content, techniques, and activities in the lesson. Let's have a more careful look at these principles. If you want to write good aims and objectives, you should think of what you want your learners to be able to do, not in terms of what you want to teach them. Make sure you have specific objectives that can be achieved by the end of the lesson. You should also have realistic objectives which are suitable for the resources and relevant to the learner's needs in real life. One important thing teachers should remember is that the purpose of each activity should help to achieve the aims of the whole lesson. Now, let's have a look at this lesson. It's lesson 1, period 1 in Unit 7, That's My School, Tiếng Anh 3, volume 1, page 46. I hope you still remember this picture and the assignment to write a lesson plan for it. If you have done it, look at the objectives you have written. Are they good enough? I mean, are they specific, achievable, and realistic? Now, look at the objectives written by a primary school teacher. By the end of the lesson, pupils will be able to use the words and phrases related to the topic My School, talk about school facilities using that's the. Yes, these objectives are specific enough. Talk about school facilities using that's the. However, the teacher should add talk about school facilities using that's the plus school facility and give an example, gym, to make the new structure very clear to the pupils. What about the second objective? Improve listening, reading, and speaking skills. Oh, it's not specific enough. What skills in listening, reading, and speaking does the teacher want the pupils to improve? Listening for details or for gists? Scanning or skimming skills? Accuracy or fluency focused speaking? How much does the teacher want the pupils to improve these skills? Of course, the pupils will never achieve all these objectives just in one single lesson. So, can you rewrite this objective to make it specific and achievable? Okay, by the end of the lesson, pupils will be able to recognize and understand the new structure. Thus, my school, my class, when they listen to short talks about the school, talk about their school using the new structure, thus the, and some new vocabulary such as gym, computer room, library, playground. Variety. Here is the checklist that help teachers to make their lesson varied. Different types of activities, for example, accuracy or fluency focused, teachers or learners-centered activities. Different types of interactions, class work or group work, pair work or individual work in the lesson plans. Different techniques and tasks for different types of learners, visual, auditory, kinesthetic pupils. Different materials used like students' book, workbook, supplementary, CD, DVD, etc. Different skills, receptive, listening and reading, productive, speaking and writing. Teachers should be sure that activities are interesting and motivating to keep the children highly motivated and interested in the whole lesson. Similarly, teachers should check some of these questions for flexibility. Are there enough time for each activity? Are there both stirring and settling activities? Are there extra backup activities to solve the anticipated or unexpected problems? And it's important that teachers do not just read the teaching plan, but they should change and use more suitable methods and techniques to suit different learning styles and the real teaching learning context. Learnability. The contents and the tasks that teachers plan to teach should be at the pupils' level. That is to say, they are not too difficult or not too easy. The pupils have chance to talk in English in class. Linkage. The activities should be sequenced logically enough, from easy to difficult, from control to freer practice, etc. The teaching steps should be linked with each other. Another important thing in planning a good lesson is the sequence of activities. Here are the principles. From receptive, listening, reading activities to productive, speaking and writing activities. From more controlled, more support to freer and less supported activities. From easy to more difficult or challenging activities. From impersonal to personal activities. The personal activities referring to the children. From concrete to more abstract activities. Activity dependency. The connection between activities. They must support one another. Use a settling activities if pupils appear very active, and a stirring one if they look tired and bored. You can check the lesson plan you design later using the principles we have just talked about. Now, let us look at the procedure of the same lesson written by that primary school teacher. Have the first look at the steps and learning activities on each slide. The whole procedure is on the 3 slides altogether. You can see the procedure has 5 steps. Warm up, look, listen and repeat, point and say, let's talk, and home link. Each step has one or more activities, with the time allowed for the activities to be done. Now, let us have a close look at each activity. Warm up, done in 5 minutes. Teacher gets students to play the game Simon Says. There are some problems here. Teacher did not say the game is done in groups or as the whole class, but it is likely to be classwork. The purpose is to revise the competence of giving instructions that the pupils learned in the previous lesson. Come in, sit down, open the book, close the book, etc. After doing this game, the teacher cannot lead the pupils to the new lesson. Activity 1 is in complete different context, introducing the new competence, talking about the school facilities. There is no link or connection between the warm-up and activity 1. Look, listen and repeat. So, we can see that the principle of linkage is not observed. These two activities does not support each other. Let's look at activity 2. Activity 2, look, listen and repeat. Done in 15 minutes. The teacher sets context using picture, elicit the name of the characters. That is good. She explains all the new words and structures in the picture, then lets them listen to the recording twice. Answer true or false questions. When they see the sentences under or above the pictures, the listening just serves the purpose of reading the sentences as model, not listening comprehension. You can see the order of the skills here. Students listen and read to answer true or false question. Then listen and repeat. Then read the dialogue. Then role play. So, are the activities from receptive to productive activities? Okay, listening and reading to speaking or act out the dialogues. That's good. But are the activities from easy to more difficult? I don't think so. The activity listen and answer true or false questions may be more challenging than activity listen and repeat. Similarly, act out might be more difficult and a freer practice than the next controlled activity point and say that you see in the next slide. Do you agree with me? Let's turn to the next slide and see . Point and say. Done in 10 minutes. The main activities here, the teacher teaches vocabulary, check them by playing a guessing game. Teacher helps pupils build the sentences about the pictures in the textbooks. The pupils repeat after the model and make similar sentences with the other pictures. Pupils speak aloud all the sentences. Teacher corrects their mistakes if there are any. Let's see the last two activities. Let's talk and HomeLink. We agree that Let's Talk is a freer activity than the Point and Say, right? This is a teacher whole class interaction, that is, classwork activity. The last step is HomeLink. Students practice talking about their own school facilities. It is freer and more personal activities than the previous one, isn't it? Children can talk about their own school. But do you think children will talk at home about it? And with whom are they going to talk with? To conclude, generally speaking, we can say that the lesson plan is varied because there are different types of activities. For example, there are accuracy and fluency focused activities, teacher and learner centered activities, and there are different types of interaction. Here we have classwork, group work, pair work, and individual work in the lesson plan. The principles of learnability is pretty well observed. The contents and the tasks are at the pupil's level. They are not too easy or too difficult for them. And the pupils have chance to talk in English in class. However, the principles of flexibility and linkage are not quite well observed. The teacher seems to follow every step and activities in the textbook, and some of them are not suitable or do not have a good support to each other. The order of these activities are not quite logical, but the teacher has not been flexible to change it. So far, we have talked about the principles of planning a good lesson and sequencing activities in a lesson. We hope that teachers remember these principles and plan the lesson successfully. You can also watch Module 17 for the checklist of a good activity to design good ones to use in class. Our lesson ends here. Goodbye for now. Thanks for watching the video.